What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Neeks Sports. I hope you can hear me well. This is a new system that I'm using to stream, using Restream, not StreamYard. So let me know in the comments if you can hear me well, and that will be fine. Listen, we're talking about Arsenal, we're talking Man United, and we're even going to drop a little Tottenham because it's the transfer window, and everybody's getting active. Everybody has to get active. And that's what is happening right now. Make sure you hit the like button before we go any further. Let me just see. I'm gonna start. Oh, what's this? Oh, okay, that's a chat. Okay. But yeah, let me know in the comments if you can hear me properly. If you can hear me well. Arsenal, Arsenal. So obviously today they signed Emil Smith-Rowe on a long-term deal. I don't think they announced the actual length of the contract, but they signed him on a long-term deal. That was the news. And I mean, it's a good that they renew the contract of one of their youngsters. So it's good that they renew the contract of not just one of their youngsters, but one of their better players. When you think about what Arsenal were doing last year, struggling in the league, struggling in most of the competitions that they were in. I know they got to Europa League semi-final, correct, against Villarreal. They struggled throughout most of the season, but there was a few shining lights of that season. You know, Bukayo Saka being one of them, and of course Emil Smith-Rowe. Those two what they call Hale End projects, the academy where Arsenal train. They came through there and they shone and they breathed a bit of life into what was a season. I mean, the season ended poorly for Arsenal anyway, but for a season that got worse, was getting worse and worse until Arteta finally brought in those youngsters. I think he brought them in against Chelsea. I believe it was against Chelsea in December, and they beat them about 3-0 or so. Um, so, yeah, I think for me, not only is he one of the youngsters, he's got a future with the club. Guys, one second, guys. I'm just going to check this audio to make sure you can hear it properly. Yeah, the audio's fine. The audio's fine. Yeah, not only is he one of the youngsters who's got a long future at the club, he's also one of their better players. A player who, not just in the future, but in the now, the here and now, he can give Arsenal a lot. And to give him the number 10 shirt, a long-term contract, which he was stalling on, it's an important renewal of the contract. There's a lot of players right now, big players that are going out either on free transfers or they're leaving with 1 year left, etc., etc. Arsenal don't want Emil Smith-Rowe to be another player that they let go from their club and goes on to do big things elsewhere. Because they've got a lot of them. Now, whatever the reason for them leaving, you look at the likes of Adebayor, Gael Clichy, Samuel Nasri, Haleb, Song, Fabregas, Van Persie, Ashley Cole. The list is long, and the list is very, very long of the players that have left Arsenal and gone on to do better elsewhere. Now, in the past, before the likes of, I would say Fabregas was probably no, Fabregas wasn't the first. That's not true. Who was the first to leave? Ashley Cole left in 2005, was it? I think it was 2005 that he left. It could be 2006. Before that, the players that used to leave Arsenal, they would be less successful elsewhere. Arsenal knew when a player was finished, when a player was up, and they couldn't offer anything more to the club. Now it's the other way around. Now players are leaving in their prime or when they've got so much more to give, and the players Arsenal signing are those you're like, maybe they're a bit over the hill, or maybe they're just not good enough. So to get him on a new deal is important. Shane says Smith-Rowe is a very good player. Sorry, guys. Smith-Rowe is a very good player. However, it's a bit reactionary to give him the number 10. I was surprised at number 10. I'm not going to lie. But who else are they going to give it to? As I said, he may be young, but he's also one of their better players. Who else are they going to give it to? and they also they trust in him. They believe in his current ability, his future ability. In the end, the number is a number. In the end, now I get each number. Different clubs have different responsibilities, but you think going into the season he's going to be a first team player, so you give him a number 10 to give him that sense of responsibility. When Ronaldo joined Man United at 18 years old, he wanted the number 23, which I think was the number that he wore at Sporting, I believe, and maybe even Portugal at the time. And Sir Alex Ferguson said, no, you are wearing the number 7 and you're going to take the responsibility. Because Ronaldo didn't want the responsibility. He didn't want the pressure that comes with it. And Fergie said, no, you're going to take the responsibility. You're going to take the pressure that comes with number 7. I believe in your ability. And he, without a shadow of a doubt, lived up to what Fergie believed he could do all that time. Adrian Williams says, Arsenal fans saying Maddison will get 8 if they sign him. I don't know what their number, so if they have 8 available, and we're going to talk about that in a second. Bean Play says, save the number 10 for signing to entice a player. Arsenal do everything they can to use to sign players. And I hear that. Imagine if Maddison wanted 10, and that was the tipping point. All right, give me the number 10 now, come. And now you're giving 10 to Smith-Rowe. Can you take him up? Can you take it off him? But if a player's only going to sign for a number, that's a problem. Ronaldo joined Real Madrid and he had the number 9 because what's his name? Ooh, I just seen that news about Paul Pogba. We'll talk about that in a second. Yeah, Ronaldo joined Real Madrid and he was the number 9 because Raul had the number 7. And he had to wait until Raul left, which I think was the next year, till he got the 7. Your decision to join the club can't be based on a number. But I do hear you. Arsenal need everything they can. Real Madrid didn't need the number to entice Ronaldo. Real Madrid is a big enough club. But yeah, what does this mean for Arsenal and their signings? Does this mean I'm gonna change the heading actually on this thing to Pogba. Let's see. So give me 1 second, guys. Edit. Pogba rejects. Pogba rejects contract. Just updating this. All right, hopefully that should save. Hopefully, if you refresh the stream, you'll see that. You should see that the title. No, it hasn't changed yet. Why has it not changed? Oh, it didn't change. I don't know why it didn't change. Yeah, we'll see that. We'll see what happens with Arsenal. Sorry, Arsenal and their next signings. We're going to come back to Arsenal. Harshif Reddy says Pogba rejected 350k per week. I am dying inside. Yes, that's correct. We just heard some breaking news coming out of was actually the Mirror. David McDonnell from the Mirror has stated. Now I don't have the article in front of me, but it's been tweeted out by United Report saying Paul Pogba has rejected a new contract at Manchester United worth £350,000 per week, and is set to leave United this summer. PSG are ready to pay 45 million, but United are only willing to sell if its 50 million value is met. I think that's that, guys. I think that's that when it comes to Paul Pogba. I think we have to accept it. 50 million is not a lot of money. 50 million is not a lot of money from a man of his ability. That's just facts. But what more can you do? What more can you do? I mean, I would say we haven't built the team. I did a stream about this the other day. We haven't built a team that enables a player of Pogba's ability to go and win, and he's a winner. That's a fact. We haven't built a team that's capable of challenging on the highest fronts at all times. during Pogba's time. So can you blame him for wanting to leave Man United? Can you blame him for looking for a new challenge? You can't. You can't do that. So would I want more than 50 million for Paul Pogba? Yeah, I would. But he's got 1 year left on his deal. He's got 1 year left on his deal. How far can we really push it? When you look at what we're trying to barter with Real Madrid for Varane, and he's also a world-class player, one of the best centre-backs in the world, he's even more decorated than Paul Pogba, 4 Champions Leagues and a World Cup as well. And they're saying they want something close to 70 million euros, and we're more around the 45 million euro mark at the moment. Can we really complain if Pogba's value is at 50 million? I'm going to complain because he's a world class player, and that's just a fact. People like to argue and debate: is Pogba world class? Is he not? He's world class? It's just a fact, and we see it. We saw it at the Euros. We've seen it even this season for Man, or the previous season for Man United. We see it. We've seen it in the World Cup. The man is world class. That's just a fact. I was sitting under the aircon on Tuesday, and it messed up. I developed a cough. The cough is kind of gone, but my voice hasn't fully come back. It's a bit sore. It's not COVID. But if you are to believe this news from the Mirror, rejected 350,000 a week. Does he want more than that? No, I don't think it's that. 350,000 a week will make him the highest paid player at Man United. Could he get more elsewhere? Yeah, PSG will probably pay more. PSG will probably pay 400,000 a week. That's probably it. No one else will pay more than 350,000 a week. Real Madrid don't have that kind of money. Barca don't have that kind of money. Juve don't have that kind of money, especially when you're going to be bidding around 50 million for him. Only PSG can pay more. I don't think he's leaving for money. I think that would be very harsh for me to say, but they can offer him a better package and at least one guaranteed trophy. Like, they're guaranteed to win the league. It should be anyway, every single year. So that's that. They've got to a Champions League semi and final in the last 2 years. They're much closer to major glory than we are. Neymar, Mbappe, if Mbappe stays any longer. I don't blame him. I don't blame him returning to his home country. I don't blame him. Being placed, it's time to sell Pogba and some other player, Sal and Neves, to come in. I did want to talk about that as well. I did want to talk about Man United and other players that we might buy or sell. I'll go through some of the comments first. Anish says, I'll take 60 million though. I mean, yeah, at this stage, it's so hard to reject anything when he's so set on leaving. The money has to be invested properly. Harshift says, we need to replace Pogba with Neves and Rice. That's bare minimum. Minimum. Pogba, Mbappe, Neymar, MN says, Sal, Neves, Bruno, and Van der Beek, Fred, and McTominay on the bench. That's a good. I think that's a very good squad. That's a very good squad of midfielders. I'm not gonna lie. Neves, Sal, and Bruno as the main three. Van der Beek, Fred, and McTominay as the backup. I think that's all right. MN says 50 million is a steal for PSG. 100% agree. Anish says this is the proper test of Murto, Fletcher, and Matt Judge. It is, because Pogba's going to go, and you can't blame any one of those for that happening. But it's about how you go out and replace them. Now, obviously, there's been links to Leonardo Goretzka. There's been talk about, as I said, Neves, Saul Niguez, Declan Rice. How you go out? Who are you scouting? Who are you going out there to go and replace Paul Pogba? And you can't replace Paul Pogba as an individual. Camavinga. You can't go and say, Pogba's out, get this guy in, you can do exactly the same job. Pogba's irreplaceable in that regard. But it doesn't mean Man United have to suffer as a whole. It doesn't mean we can't be stronger. It doesn't mean we can't be stronger next season just because Paul Pogba's gone. Of course, if you keep Paul Pogba, you're going to be stronger. But if you go out, as was said earlier, if you go out and get Sal and Ruben Neves, I'd argue that we're stronger than we were last season. No one as an individual is good enough to replace Paul Pogba, but you can go and get two players. You get Van der Beek, who's a year on. Um, we should be in a stronger position next year. Shane says, Neeks, I'm pretty sure Fabrizio said that United are not selling Pogba for 50 million. United want him to stay, and no club is going to pay 60 or more when someone has 1 year left on the contract. Yeah, I mean, we have to decide whether or not we believe the report from the Mirror. Obviously, we know it's a tabloid newspaper. I don't know this guy's credibility in terms of news, but as I did on my last video, we need to accept that Paul Pogba is probably going to leave. Whether it's next year, this year or next year, he's going to leave. Therefore, he needs replacing one way or another. Whether we get 50 million from him now and replace, or we replace him this summer with him leaving for free next year. Of course, let's talk about Goretzka, who could possibly be leaving on a free next season, and we're trying to do a deal. We've offered him a contract to potentially stay at Bayern for this year and then join next year on a free. Now, if Bayern realize that he's not going to sign a new contract, Bayern may be willing to sell this year to make sure he doesn't leave on a free. So there's a lot of possibilities out there in the market. We need to make sure that one way or another, we go into this season stronger than last season. Stronger than last season. I wanted to talk quickly, go back to Arsenal. Now, obviously, we know that Smith-Rowe signed a new contract. What does that mean for the rest of their positions? We'll get back onto Man United in a second. What does that mean for the other positions? Now, let's talk about James Maddison and whether that's still on or off. I don't think this Smith-Rowe deal positively or negatively affects the fact that James Maddison may or may not come. I think that's purely independent of Smith-Rowe's deal. Or should I say purely independent? If he didn't sign a new contract and decided he wanted to leave, then I think it would positively affect the James Maddison deal, because they'll have to go out and get someone. But I don't think him signing a new contract prevents Arsenal from signing the James Maddison. I just think it's a difficult deal to do anyway. I just honestly think, yeah, he's not 100% in favour at Leicester at the moment, but Leicester, we know they want a lot for their players, especially the English players. Maguire went for 80, Chilwell went for 50. Maddison's going to be somewhere between 60 to 80 million. Are Arsenal willing to pay that money? That's the real question. Who's willing to pay that money in this market? That's the only question Arsenal have to really ask themselves. Back to Manchester United, Rafael Varane. Now, there was a report earlier from Fabrizio Romano. I say it earlier, much earlier in the day, regarding Rafael Varane. I'm just seeing his page now to see if he said anything about Paul Pogba. He hasn't mentioned Paul Pogba at all. Also, Smith-Rowe's deals up over to 2026, a 5-year deal. But yeah, the last report from Fabrizio Romano was that Man United are in direct contact with Real Madrid for Rafael Varane since last week, so a week ago actually. Varane wants a Premier League experience, but he'll be respectful. He's not breaking his relationship with Real Madrid. It's up to the two clubs to reach an agreement. So yeah, he's happy to join Man United. He's willing to join Man United. We just need to come to an agreement, come to a fee with Real Madrid. And you think that at this stage, with Varane wanting to leave, us wanting to sign him, and Real Madrid accepting that he's going to go, not willing to let him go. They don't want him to go, but accepting that he's going to have to go this year, or they'll lose him on a free next year. I think we'll come to a deal. There's talk that they want 70 million euros for him. That is what, 60 million pounds in sterling, GBP. We want to pay, I think, more around 50 million euros. So we're about 20 million euros, which is about 15 million pounds out at the moment. We'll probably come to a deal somewhere between 45 million pounds to 50 million pounds as a max. So I'm not worried about the Varane deal. I think all the wheels are in motion for us to get that sign over the line, because I think us and Real Madrid are going to come to an agreement. Like, if a team really wants Paul Pogba, we're going to have to come to agreement um, on a deal to sell him this summer. I'll be very surprised if Ed Woodward, I know he's still there, so Ed Woodward, the Glazers, are willing to allow Paul Pogba to leave on a free next year. I wouldn't mind it. I'm not going to be honest. I wouldn't mind it. We should have enough money to go out and buy players regardless of Pogba going. But the way they've run this club in terms of financially, to let him go on a free next year would be surprising. I'll say that it would be surprising. Dinesh says, even Neeks, you've been watching 100 ball cricket. I've glimpsed it. I watched it yesterday. I watched part of it today, fell asleep because I was working hard. I was tired today. But yeah, I mean, it's just 2020 with 20 less balls. It's pointless, to be honest. It's pointless. I don't know why. I'm happy to watch cricket all the time on free to air as well, but it's not necessary. It's not necessary. And it says, Bayern don't let their players leave unless they want to. Yeah, Thiago had 1 year left on his deal. They were willing to let him go because they had Kimmich moving into the central midfield. But we're in an era right now where the players are having more and more power. Players are realizing their power and their commercial value, that they're happy enough to run down their contracts, knowing that they can get better deals financially elsewhere. So Goretzka having 1 year left on his deal isn't in Bayern's hands. If even Bayern wanted to keep him, if he doesn't want to stay, then he will leave. Now, we don't know for sure. There's no indication that he wants to leave. It's probably going to come down to whether or not Bayern offering the money that he requires. Being placed as it's very difficult to build a midfield with Pogba and Bruno. It means you need a world-class specific CDM. 100% we do. Bayern are in a mess with regards to their wage structure because Sane is on big money, and because of that, players like Kimmich, Coleman, Goretzka, and they're unwilling to give them that, says Shane. I wasn't aware about the wage issues that they're having. MN says, I need Man United to get Varane ASAP. Is it because you're a Barcelona fan? By the way, your kit is horrible. Your kit is horrible. That alone should exclude you from winning the league next year. Being Play says, straight swap Varane and Pogba makes sense to me. I thought Real Madrid were interested. Well, again, yeah, it depends what we value Paul Pogba at, but that would be a perfect deal. Varane is, we're saying 50 million max. We're probably valuing Pogba around 60 to 70 million. If we say to Real Madrid, all right, give us Varane and 10 million or 15 million, we'll give you Paul Pogba. You do that. I mean, PSG ain't going to pay 60, 70 million for him, it looks like. So at least you're getting the 60, 70 million value in that deal. Now, of course, what would be better is to sign Pogba on a new contract, of course. But you have to be realistic. But are Real Madrid willing to go out and get Paul Pogba? The wages that he's going to be on, whilst they still want to go out and get Mbappe, possibly Haaland next year. And this says Real don't have 10 to 15 million. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. What Arsenal do for the rest of this transfer is going to be interesting. They've got Lokonga, they've got Tavares, they've signed Smith-Rowe to a new deal. You know, they're looking at Maddison. Ben White is imminent. So we'll have to see about that. With Man United, Varane, that's getting closer and closer. We're talking to Real Madrid. You can't get any closer than that with two clubs willing to do a deal and you're talking to them. So I'm hoping that can be done definitely before the start of the season. You know, that's about what, 2.5 weeks away. So you'd hope we can do it before then. Or like 3 weeks away even. So we hope we can do it before then. Whether he gets announced with Sancho, we don't know. We don't know what's happening with that. I mean, Sancho's joining, but there's a bit of a delay regarding his announcement. And Paul Pogba. Red Devil Studio. So make sure you lot go check out Red Devil Studio. I just want to see something actually. I'm using this new feature. I'm going to see what these different... Okay, what's this one? Interesting. So is Paul Pogba leaving? According to the Mirror, he is. I haven't had a more reliable source than that stated that yet. But if he has rejected a £350 million deal, then all the odds suggest that he will be leaving the summer. But that's only if someone can put the money up. If someone can't put the money up, then it means we have to lose him on a free next year. And I said in the last video, hopefully that means we'll be able to make a genuine push for the title and go deep in the Champions League because for keeping a player like Paul Pogba. Keeping Pogba and winning the Premier League and getting nothing next year is better than getting 50 million for here and hoping that you're going to win the Premier League. I'm not saying we're going to win it with Paul Pogba, but surely he gives you a better chance. Surely. Being player says, I don't understand why a winner like Varane would want to come, but Pogba wants to leave for PSG. Pogba wants respect. I'm not going to get that in. Really good. I don't think it's about respect. He's been here for 5 years and he hasn't won a major trophy. To be fair, it seems like his plan already when he joined was to leave to go Real Madrid a few years later. So I'm not surprised he wants to leave. People just want new ideals, new challenges. Varane wants a new challenge from Real Madrid. He's been there since he was 19 or so. He wants a new challenge, and I think players are allowed that. So yeah, I don't think we can read too much into it because if his plan was always to leave Manchester United at some point, then regardless of what we won in this time, he may well have still left. Yeah, of course, if we had won more, he might be more willing to stay, but it's no guarantee. He signed a long-term deal when he came, and they've been trying to leave, who've been indicating they're going to leave for a while. Red Devil Studio said would love Grealish. That's something I haven't even mentioned for a while because, of course, we heard the news that Man City wanted both Kane and Grealish. But I tell you what, if we were to lose Pogba, let's say we sold him for 60 million and bought Grealish for 80, yeah, it's 20 million more. Grealish ain't better than Paul Pogba. But I'll take it. I'll take it. I'll take it. Grealish is a quality player, absolute quality player. Now it's not about getting him some Man City don't get him, but I'll tell you, if Man City were to get Kane and Grealish, we're in problems. We're in problems. We're not going to buy him because Man City want him like we did with Alexis Sanchez, for example. I think he's a quality player. He does like to play off the left. Um, but it's options. If you have him and Rashford as options on the left, you have Diallo and Sancho as options on the right, Cavani and Greenwood up front. Where does Martial sit in all that? You probably have to get rid of Martial in that respect. I mean, Rashford is going to hopefully be out for a little while if he gets his surgery. I hope he gets surgery. Who's going to pay that for Martial? There's a lot of uncertainty in this market because we're in COVID. Who's got money? The clubs that need to sell players are not the ones who are strapped for cash. Man United need to sell, Chelsea need to sell, and Arsenal need to sell. But the ones who we need to sell them to ain't got no money. We need to buy players, we need to sell players, but the people we need to sell them to can't afford the players. So we're really going to end up with a bloated squad in the end. I'm going to do a stream about all the players that Man United need to get rid of. I'll do that early next week. Yeah, Grealish would be ideal. I don't know how realistic though, but it will be ideal. It will be very good. Villa, the fact they went and got Buendia, who had a very good game in the preseason, he had two great assists, brilliant passes. I know it was Wrexham, but great passes. And who else? We got Buendia. Obviously, Grealish is there. They tried to get Smith-Rowe. Were they trying to get those players to replace Grealish, or was it to play with Grealish? I don't know. Let's see. Pogba leaving, rejecting 350k, and not buying a CDM doesn't make United serious contenders for a title. 100% agree with that. Sammy says Vinny, Pogba. Oh, please. Swap deal would be great. We don't want Vinicius anywhere near Manchester United. Thank you very much. Is he in the Brazil under 20 squad? Under 23 squad, sorry. For the Olympics. Richarlison's in there, and I think he's found his level. That might be Vinicius' level as well. Abdallah says Villa won 100 million for Grealish. MN says, do City need Grealish? Maybe. They're trying to win the Champions League. They're trying to win back-to-back Premier Leagues again. So you always need to strengthen. There's no serious links with Grealish to United. Yeah, that's why I haven't really mentioned it. It's not something that's really cropped up since last season. After we got Van de Beek, it kind of just disappeared. BJ says Grealish as Pogba replacement doesn't make sense to me. Grealish is not a pivot player. He's not. But I mean, neither is Pogba in our system because we don't have the DM to accommodate. It wouldn't be Grealish to replace. You can't replace Paul Pogba. That's what I'm trying. You cannot replace Paul Pogba. So to go out and look for someone to replace Paul Pogba is futile. What I'm saying is we're looking to improve the squad full stop. So you lose Paul Pogba, you have to, whether you keep Paul Pogba or not, we have to go out and get a defensive midfielder. So that's that. You have to get a defensive midfielder. You probably need to get another midfielder in there as well because Pogba might leave next year. Whether he leaves this year, he's going to leave at some point. So if you were to get Neves and Saul Niguez, for example, Ruben Neves, Saul Niguez, you get those two. They can play in a pivot together. Pogba can play in a pivot next to one of them, of course. Grealish won't be a replacement for Pogba, but he's another creative player in the team. He'll play in a free behind the striker, but he's another creative player. Adrian Willis says, we are done out here if Pogba leaves. It's not good, but I disagree with Dan. Listen, and this is no shade on Paul Pogba. What I'm going to say here is no shade on Paul Pogba. Better players have left Man United, and the club has remained and been successful. Better players have left Man United. And yes, we were in a better place with a better manager at the time. But we have to remember, better players have left Manchester United. On top of that, what have we achieved since Paul Pogba's come here? Now, that might be indicative of the mess that we're in, that we couldn't even really achieve anything major with Paul Pogba here. But it's not like Paul Pogba's led us, and again, this is not a slight on Paul Pogba, it's just a fact. It's not like Paul Pogba's led us to 3 Premier Leagues and a Champions League win since he's been here. And if we lose him, how do we replace that? Like Ronaldo, for example, when he left. He was Ballon d'Or winner, Premier League Player of the Year, top goal scorer, etc. Champions League winner, Premier. How do you go and replace that? You go and get Antonio Valencia. Like, Paul Pogba is going to be a big miss as an individual player. But are we done without Paul Pogba? I mean, what are we right now with him? We're not winning anything anyway. So I don't know. I wouldn't go that far. But we do have to go out and get some and strengthen the squad. Would you take Jude Bellingham if Pogba left? 100%. We wanted Jude Bellingham before he went to Borussia Dortmund, and I want him now. He's a top quality and talented player with a long future ahead of him. BJ says my Pogba replacement will be Rice and maybe Camavinga. Well, yeah, Rice is a player, or that type of player is someone you need regardless of Pogba leaves or not. So I wouldn't even say my Pogba replacement. That player needs to be signed regardless. We need a defensive midfielder regardless of what happens with Paul Pogba. But I do hear you. Stu MC says Pogba finally ridden himself of the kick and chase Muppets of Maguire, Shaw, McTominay, watching blossom with footballers around him again. And it would help being in a Farmers League in Ligue 1 as well. Adomo won 80 to 100 million for Jude. Oh, God, no. Surely not. I mean, maybe they might. No. Sancho went for 73. Attacking players generally always go for more than the players that are slightly further back. He's a central midfielder. It won't be 100 million. That I can guarantee won't be 100 million. 70 million might be a fee. Pogba suffered from the gammon press, but he's glad to be shot of them too. Yeah, I mean, also even the Euros, like you heard some of the analysis that some of them are giving, and it's like really, Vieira disappointed me when they were analysing the Switzerland game. Yeah, it's disappointing. And then it's one thing even the media saying what they say, whatever in it, but it's when fans start feeding into it and actually believing it, and then regurgitating um, those same type of the same rhetoric. Abdullah says United won a League Cup, Community Shield, and Europa League with Pogba only. Pogba can leave, but not unless we get 50 million plus, says Jonathan, because that would really hurt. But I've seen it coming. I think we've all been seeing this coming for a little while now. Neves and Saul Camavinga for me, more affordable. Rice will cost. Yeah, I think the Rice deal is unrealistic for both Man United or Chelsea this summer. West Ham have put 100 million. Big up yourself, Ryan, in the chat. No, Jude ain't going for 90 million. Not in. Okay, to be fair, if Jude was available today, he's not going for 90 million. In 2 years' time, if the market changes, COVID restrictions are not where they are, teams have more money, then maybe. But as the market stands today, Jude Bellingham ain't costing 90 million. I'll tell you that for. And you know what? They may even put a 90 million price tag on his head, like Rice has done with. So West Ham has done with Rice, but no one ain't paying 90 million for him. Not in a financial market that we've got now. Who's spending that money? Who is spending that money? We know Europe ain't got no money. We know that. But what I was gonna say, I lost my train of thought. There was a comment saying Neves and Sal for me more affordable. Rice will cost way too much. Yeah. Rice ain't coming. Rice ain't coming. West Ham put 100 million price tag on his head. But a Sal Niguez and Ruben Neves central midfield, I'll take that all day long. I will take that all day long. I think that is a good. That's a good midfield. You got two players who have got defensive capabilities. Sal Niguez has the ability to carry the ball forward and have an impact in the attacking third. So more of a box-to-box midfielder without neglecting his defensive duties. And Ruben Neves will be the deep line playmaker. So of course he's got his own defensive capabilities, but he's also able to dictate the play from deep and get the ball facing his own goal from the centre backs and turn and play from there. That would be a brilliant midfield, and that would actually be a more balanced midfield than a Pogba and Fred or Pogba and McTominay. Now that's not Paul Pogba's fault. It's just that we just decided not to go and get a defensive midfielder that needs to play next to Paul Pogba. We had Matic at one point, sorry, but he's too old now. He's too old. As I say, we'll talk about players who need to leave Man United soon. Watch out! TikTok says Pogba will leave United and will have success. I have no doubt that he will be successful. I have no doubt. Jonathan says, quick player needed for CDM. Don't know if Sal would work out. But Neves is the most realistic in terms of price. Yeah, and the fact that he's got Premier League experience as well is coming from Wolves. Like buying a player from Wolves and Atletico Madrid, as big as we are, Atletico Madrid are bigger than Wolves. So it should be easier to get a player from Wolves. But if I'm correct, Sal should have a release clause anyway. So if he wants to come, he can come. Neves and Sal. Neves and Niguez. Niguez and Neves as the midfield. I'll take that with Bruno, Sancho, Rashford. I'll take that. I think it's a balanced midfield. And we haven't had a balanced midfield for a while. Both players very, very comfortable on the ball. Very comfortable on the ball. When you play Fred and McTominay, neither of them are comfortable on the ball. Niggers and Nevers and McTominay's McTominay playing next to one of them. I mean, if you were to put McTominay there, you play McTominay with a Neves because McTominay will be the one breaking forward. If you were to play Fred, I mean, you need the legs. Fred next to Neves could work, but who's going to be the creative one? No, probably, yeah. I mean, I don't know. We're just speculating. We're ready to speculate. But if Pogba leaves, you need two players. We need one as it stands. If Pogba leaves, you need two. That's the situation we're in. But guys, listen. Thank you very much for joining me. Hit the like button if you haven't done so already. Subscribe to the channel. Stu says you don't play him with anyone. You sell him to Palace. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you lot soon.